Actually, you ever got into comic books at all? You read comic books growing up?
Man, it's crazy that you say that. Yeah, I mean, I was in comic books when I was little.
Mhm,
Didn't really know they were collectibles or anything. I was actually reading them and using them.
mhm.
So they're all trash, but I definitely been diving and looking back into like investing into comic books because I want to have that at the shows too.
Mm. Something told me
Yeah.
that would be your answer. So when I grew up, my brother now, I'll say this, and I want him to hear this because I don't know if he's ever heard this before. But my father influenced me to collect sports stuff, autographs, cards. Right. My brother was the
Okay.
main influencer to for me to start collecting comic books. My brother's an avid reader, reads a lot more than I do. He's just an avid reader.
That's
So he
awesome.
would read novels, small novels, when we were growing up, and then he started reading comic books a lot. And this was
Mhm.
around the time when my brother's 5 years old. So this was around the time when I was like learning how to read and like really reading. All right. He was into comic books. So I would pester him and I would sit down beside him while he was reading and I would ask him about each panel. Like, what does that panel say? What does that panel
Wow.
say? 'Cause I really couldn't read it. And then
Right,
even after
right.
I began reading, I would still go through that. And he was like, no, you got to read it for yourself. So then we would go to
Mhm.
a comic book store in Chicago and we went there for years, man. And we would go in and our parents, this is back when comics were really cheap, you know. Our parents may give us both $20 and we could come out with a stack of
That's
stuff.
that.
And so I
Yeah.
would go home and want to put my stuff right in a sleeve. Like I don't even want to read it. I was
Wow.
always thinking about collecting, right?
Wow.
My brother would read comic books, the same book like three, four, 5 times to the point where the cover might be coming off.
Right.
Like he's into the storyline and how Spectacular Spider-Man is different from the Amazing Spider-Man and what the storylines are and what new
Right.
characters are being introduced. He was deep into it. So he was the person that really influenced me to get into comic books. I have a lot of comic books in storage. I said on another episode that I want to start going through those
Yeah.
later this year, pulling stuff out and going through the grading process and learning more about what I have. But I love comic books, man. I would have never thought though when I was young that some of these books would have the values that they have now. And I'm not talking about ancient stuff. I'm not talking about um, Spider-Man #1 and when Thor was first introduced. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about like stuff that has been within the last since I was born, probably the
Right.
last 40 to 50 years. That's worth a lot. Some of the stuff is worth
A
a
hun-
lot of
100%.
and my father also helped me like preserve stuff, right? So we took all the books that I had and put them into like these oak containers so they don't have any kind of this was a long time
Wow.
ago. So
Yeah,
that
yeah,
they're
wow.
temperature
Yeah, that's crazy.
controlled, their humidity control and all all that stuff affects your comic book and what it's like. But
You was a comic book
mm,
collector for
yeah,
sure.
for years, man, for a long time.
Yeah, no, mine was, I was folding the pages, saving my spot in the book. I was doing
Mhm.
all that type of stuff.
Like a regular book, right? That's what you would do with a
Yes,
regular book. That's
regular
what my brother
book,
was. Yeah.
Pokemon cards, I was trading them. I had my binder, but I was in and out the binder like every other second, so I was probably using those cards up like crazy.
Mhm.
But yeah, man, I got into all that stuff just watching cartoons as a kid, man. Like watching Spider-Man, the original Spider-Man cartoons, and Superman and Batman, and just being influenced by those cartoons. It's like, wow, okay, yeah, I like this, and didn't know that there was comics and cards and all that other good stuff. So